Hey everyone, and welcome back to Case Uncovered, where we uncover some of the most compelling and lesser known true crime cases. I'm your host, Jen Rivera, and I'm really excited to share that in the next couple of weeks, Case Uncovered will officially go back to a weekly podcast. So I'll be sharing new episodes with you every week on Thursdays. Now, many of you know I have been a little MIA these last couple of months. If you are familiar with my story, you know that my Aunt Linda Brown went missing in January, and I went from an advocate who worked with families of the missing to a family member going through it in real time. This has definitely been an experience that's changed me, and I will be sharing my aunt's story here on the podcast soon, so make sure you stay tuned. But today, I have a really special episode for you all and an incredible guest. Now, this particular episode, there is a video option available as well if you want to tune in on YouTube. I have a really amazing guest that's joining me today in studio. Her name is Wendy Davis. Many of you may be familiar with her dad's case. Her dad, Dan Davis, went missing in November of 2025, so it's been about 3 months that he's been missing. While my family and I were still searching for my aunt, I had so many people reach out and suggest that I connect with Wendy. We both live in the same local area, and her dad's case and my aunt's case had some similarities. So after we found my aunt and I got back to work, working on my nonprofit, the Reignited Project, and helping families of the missing, I really wanted to help in any way that I could. So I reached out to Wendy and we connected. Wendy is an amazing person. She has an incredible personality, and you'll be able to see that in today's interview. Despite going through an incredibly difficult time with her dad missing, she's been extremely strong and has continued to stay as positive as possible. So in today's episode, Wendy's going to share a little bit about her dad. She's going to tell us all about him, the type of person he is, and all the facts of his case, from the timeline to what they do know and what they don't, and where the search stands today. Thank you, Wendy, for joining me for this episode.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you.
I know.
To have you in studio, too.
Yes.
I wish it was under better circumstances, but,
Yeah.
that's why we're here.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So Wendy is going to share a little bit about her dad's case today. We're going to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to talk a little bit about your search efforts, kind of where you guys are at now.
Yeah.
And, even like talking a little bit about my Aunt Linda's case as well, and maybe anything I can help with or feedback or whatever.
For sure.
Because we just went through this process too. So
Mm-hmm.
not as long, but we did go through it. So yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
For sure.
And there's a lot you don't know, even for me being and working in the space. So so that's what we're going to do.
Cool.
And then kind of talk about, ways that we can help, like my audience can help, how we can continue to spread awareness for Dan's case. And then, so if you can give us a little bit of background, I want to talk about your dad first.
Yeah.
Let's talk about him. He sounds like such a cool guy.
Yeah. Everyone always, ask me this, and the first thing I always say is that my dad is a huge goofball. Like, I would say like 98% of my memories with my dad are us just like laughing about the dumbest things that only we think are funny. Like he is all about sarcasm and dark humor, and we would, I don't know, make fun of people like just like stuff that not everybody's gonna laugh at. He and I would laugh at all the time, and it's been that way since I could form a thought, like my entire life. So yeah, he's hilarious, and I've been learning a lot more about him throughout this whole process too. And people tell me stories about how he is at work and pranks he's pulled on people at work, and I just like everybody shares the same impression of my dad as I do. Like, they all agree that he's just funny and he's a light, and nobody has anything negative to say about him. He's like he's also just somebody that, like, just gets along with everyone. Like, he doesn't have any beef with anybody. Nobody has any complaints about him. Like, he's not only a really good, really funny person, but he's really good at his job. I'll give context. My dad is the lead lighting designer at 115 Bourbon Street, the Southside club, bar, restaurant, venue that he has worked at for like 26 years, 25 years. Um, and so he is in charge of all the productions there. So he will set up all the lights. He'll rig up everything like a couple days before a big show, and then he'll be at the light board for the actual show. So he'll do lights and everything.
That's really
And
cool.
yeah, yeah, and he's been doing that job specifically for like 40 years. Like even before he moved to Chicago, he was doing that in Indiana. So, um, but he's one of those people you could tell the difference between Dan's lights versus somebody else's lights. Like he has just such a creative touch with it, and he points everything in the directions he wants, and he'll just like kind of just take the liberty and do whatever he wants at Bourbon and just anyway. So he's a very creative forward person. Like his visions are always like 5 years ahead of their time. And yeah, I mean he's also just a man of routine, a man of habit. He spends all his time either at home, at work, or at his friend's house, which is in Blue Island. So that's how he's connected to Blue Island. But um yeah, he's not a huge traveler. He doesn't surprise anybody. Like again, he's very simple, routine, never missed a day of work in all of those 25 years. And yeah, so him being missing is the biggest shock like he's ever given anybody, obviously.
Yeah.
Cuz he's not like somebody that would go remote, like go off grid and not tell anybody or be like, you know, screw this. I like he doesn't have anything to run from or like it's so
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway.
So let's talk a little bit about his disappearance then.
Mhm.
So when exactly did he disappear, and
Yeah.
like what were the circumstances surrounding that?
So I was like, so I'll just like paint the picture of how I found out. So yeah, so I was downtown and I was hanging out with my family. We were just like getting ice cream or something, and I got a call from one of my dad's close friends who I don't know. It was around like 9 o'clock at night or something, and she goes, "Hi Wendy, I'm blah blah blah. I'm your dad's close friend. We're here with the police, and we can't find your dad." And I'm out with my family, and there's kids with me, and I'm trying not to whatever. I'm just like, okay, I'm like unreactive because I'm with people. And she goes on and explains, he didn't show up to work the last couple days. Nobody can reach him. His calls go straight to voicemail when people try to call him. So something's up with his phone. Um, and they just went over to his apartment in that moment and they, came over with the police and the police were able to open the door and he wasn't in his apartment. And that's when they were like, okay, time to call Wendy. So, his friends already kind of knew about it before I did, and they wanted to wait to call me until they like knew for sure that they don't know where he is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was officially November 25th that he went missing. So it's a big, long, complicated timeline, but just to crunch it down a little bit, just the timeline of events. On November 24th, we know pretty much for sure that my dad suffered some kind of medical episode at home at his apartment, whether it's earlier that day or the day before on the 23rd, whatever. We're pretty sure it was a stroke just because of all the video that we have of him, all of his sightings the following day. But so something happened to him at his apartment on the 24th. And then that evening, around like 11 p.m. or so on November 24th, my dad got into a head-on collision car accident, like not even 5 minutes away from his apartment, like pretty close. He only lives like 5 minutes away from Bourbon Street. He was involved in a head-on collision and he was fine. He was not visibly injured. Neither was the other driver. The Cook County Sheriff's Department responded to the call and my dad refused medical attention multiple times and requested to be dropped off at Bourbon Street because that's probably where he was going at that hour. And he said, I have friends there. They can drive me home or whatever. I'm like, okay. So they take him there. And he had just missed his friends. Like they had just left and they were like, all right, Dan's not showing up. Let's go see if he shows up at our house. So they just missed him in that moment, which sucks. So they didn't see him.
Oh,
But Bourbon was closing up. He only spent about like 30 minutes there and didn't really interact with anybody. But we watched a bunch of security camera footage of my dad at Bourbon and we can tell he's wandering around and kind of aimlessly, he's walking kind of weird. He's tripping over some random curbs and little things and we can tell he's not with it. And he eventually leaves on foot going into the morning of November 25th at like 1 in the morning. He finally leaves Bourbon on foot. And we're calling that the moment that he went missing because that's when he eventually ended up in Blue Island by walking, and then all day on November 25th is when we have all those clips of his sightings of him, like, wandering through people's yards and through alleys and, again, tripping over stuff and, like, not being able to maneuver around simple, like, obstacles. Um, so we have a bunch of clips of him that day, and then the final video that we still to this day have of my dad is on November 26th, the next day, and it's of him just, like, walking out the door of a church in Blue Island. And we think he was just, like, he had this thing where he was just trying to open doors for whatever reason, like, he was just, like, checking doors, so we think that he just, like, accidentally ended up inside the church for a minute and was just in and out. We don't think he was, like, attending church, you know? So anyways, that's the last sighting that we have of my dad is the 26th, and that was, like, almost 3 months ago now, and it's been this big, long, painful, like, cycle of people sending in videos they think is my dad, and we're like, "Oh, shoot, no, that's not him. Okay. Oh, I heard about this. Oh, that's not him. Okay." So it's just this cycle that we've been going through for 3 months. I said long story short, and that was not short, but
Yeah, no, but it's important information though,
yeah.
because it gives kind of the timeline, it gives the last actual sighting.
Mhm.
And so that's really important because a lot of times people want to know that too,
Yeah.
especially if they're keeping an eye out. Even from my experience with my Aunt Linda when she went missing, it was like very similar circumstances where she's not one to just disappear. It
Yeah.
wasn't a normal thing.
No.
So we took it seriously right away.
Right.
But I know how that feels when people are like, "We've seen her," and we got so many of those, so many of those.
Right?
Some people saying they saw her at, like, crack houses and, like, we're like,
Yeah, like, places that would never
"Yeah," and they're
make
like,
sense.
it was her," and there was one person I actually had to have the police intervene because she kept reaching out to me, and she was like, "You need to go, you need," and I'm like, "I'm not
We've had people like that too.
not
It's
going
like
there."
it's when your case blows up in the media, people wanna and I'm not saying that's why they're messaging us, but, like, people wanna be involved, and people
Yeah,
are convinced that they see something just because they've seen my dad's face all over the news, and then your mind starts playing tricks on you and stuff, and,
yeah.
yeah, we've had people be like, "I know it was him, I know it was him," and then we get the video, and it's some 6'5" guy with a beard and, like, just
Doesn't look
not
anything
and I'm like, "Guys, what
yeah,
are we doing? Like, thank you, but
right.
what?" Like
And we appreciated the
right,
tips and everything because
right.
obviously call them in, if
Yes,
you think it's
please,
hit if you
don't
think it's
stop doing that, but I'm just explaining, like, the how
right.
tiring
Exactly,
yeah,
but yeah, that's the point. It's
right,
like, maybe think about what you're putting
right.
what you're putting out
Maybe
there,
double check.
and if the police already said they've looked into it and it's not
Yeah,
a lead, then move on,
yeah,
you
and if
know?
you don't have enough information like, this is another thing too that we have to keep reminding people, if you don't have enough information to explain the sighting to the police, then what are we gonna do with that, you know? Because we'll get a message that's like, "I saw a guy, you know, a bald guy in the middle of the intersection a week ago over here. I can't remember what time, I can't remember what he was wearing," and then we're like, "Okay, well, we can't do anything with that." You know, like,
Right,
if you can't remember the time, what he was wearing, or the location or anything, and you don't have enough information to report it to the police, then we don't have enough information to report it to the police and, like, follow up, you know? So, I'm sure you guys got stuff that like that too, that was just vague and, like,
yeah,
no details, and you're like, "Alright, so what about" it's
exactly,
just a
and I
long
think
thing.
it's a good learning it's like a lesson learned,
Right.
basically, and even for everybody out there that wants to help, like,
Yeah.
we love the help, like, families of the
Yes.
missing, we need your help.
Yeah.
We need you to keep your eyes open, but there's just a couple of things that are really important, like gathering specific details,
Mhm.
having specific information, enough to give police. If
Yeah.
it's too vague, I know it might be a pain, but maybe look a little bit more into it
Right.
first,
Yeah, before
and
you, like,
then
send us a big long thing that we have to, like,
right.
scour all our details through and, like, read about, yeah.
Exactly.
Good.
And so I think the best way to help too is really just continue to spread awareness, to
Mhm.
continue to share the flyers, the posters,
That's my
the
favorite.
social posts. I know you have a Facebook group,
We do.
Find Dan
Find
Davis.
Dan Davis. My mom is running that Facebook page like the Navy. She is
She's
she
incredible.
is a she is well, she's been a crazy Facebook mom for 20 years. But but this is her moment. So she was built for this. Yeah, it has almost like 50,000 members, which we would have never like I remember when she first made that page and it first got like 1,000 or something. My mom was like, "Oh my God, 1,000 people." And it just kept going. And I think when I started posting my TikToks and those blew up, then like overnight the page also got another 20,000. It was just like insane. So yes, Find Dan Davis is where is like a big general hub with like daily updates. It has suggestions of how people can help. It has a link in the description to like this public folder of all the information of my dad, like his timeline, a map of sightings, and FAQs, all that stuff. So all of the information is on that page. It's a good centralized thing.
Absolutely. And that's incredible. Like, that's what I always tell my families, and like what the families that I work with that have a missing loved one is create like a Facebook group or a
Yes.
Facebook page. Make sure you
Website,
have
something.
website, link tree, something,
Mhm.
just a centralized place that has all of the information
Yeah.
that they need, documents, anything that you have
Yeah.
that'll be helpful for anyone that may have
Wants
a
to.
sighting or wants to help or
Mhm.
wants to search.
Exactly.
So that's great that you guys did that right
Yeah,
away.
that was like a step one thing. Like we noticed right away how many people wanted to help, and there was a lot of the same questions. And my mom honestly made the Facebook group as something for like just our friends to like all go look at. And then we got random people from all over the world. Literally, there's people on that page from like Australia and Denmark and like whatever.
Yeah.
That was never the intention for it to be this like nationwide, worldwide hub. It was mainly just for our like friends to see who was where, basically. But now it's this. So yeah. But yeah, exactly. That's like if you have a missing loved one and you notice right away that people are asking you a lot of the same things and want to help out, you got to create some, yes, like website, link tree, whatever, something.
Right.
Yeah.
Or go to an organization that can help.
Yes.
There are a lot of organizations that can do that for you if you
Mhm.
just don't have
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
skill set to do it. My organization is one, the Reignited Project. We do
Exactly.
help. We do link trees, we do websites, we do any type of digital asset, and then we provide guidance too for missing persons
Yeah.
cases. So uh, that's what we're doing now. But
No.
a lot of families don't know.
Mhm.
They just simply don't know because there isn't a rule book
No, it's
when your
it's
loved
like
one goes missing. It's
yeah.
not like here's this guidebook. Here
And
you
it's
go.
like it like people go missing all the time, but despite that, it's still like a situation that you never would think would happen to you. It feels
Oh,
like such a random, crazy, rare thing, but like CPD, like the one unit that's helping us, they get like hundreds of calls about missing people like a week, and it's like
yeah.
it's insane how much or how often this happens. I didn't even realize. Yeah.
It does, and, I went through it too. I mean,
Yep.
I'm in this space, I work in this
Yeah.
space every single day. I never would have imagined it would have happened to my own family, never.
No.
And then when it did happen, luckily, when I realized that it was serious,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Okay, this is serious. I know what to do.
Mhm.
This is what we have to do."
Yeah.
And just this switch flipped in my brain, like, "Okay, we can't be sad right now. We have to get on this. We
I was
have
the
to
same
do
way.
A,
Yeah.
B, C, and D.
Like straight to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have to get to it. There's no time to be sad right now. We
Yeah.
gotta stay focused. But, unfortunately,
Mhm.
it didn't turn out the way that we were
Exactly.
hoping,
Yeah.
and it's unfortunate, because that is the case in a lot of missing persons cases, but
Yeah.
there are a lot of missing persons cases that are happy endings,
I know, yeah. I'm getting comments from people on my videos and stuff saying like my dad or my whoever was missing for over a year and we found him in a homeless community in another state because he forgot who he was and had dementia that we didn't know about and whatever. And honestly, that's best case scenario for my dad. Like like we're praying that he is obviously we want him to be in a hospital or an institution to be taken care of, but like that
Right.
and like we're prepared for any outcome. We're very aware of the worst case scenario and we're ready for, God forbid that to be the case for us. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, again, I'm just seeing so many comments from people just saying that they found them in a situation they would have never expected. And I'm like, all right, well, that gives me hope at least. I guess no news is somewhat good news in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, even in this situation too, it's like, we only went through it for a couple of weeks, you
Yeah.
guys have already been going through it for months,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just hard,
Weeks feels like months, though. I remember the first few weeks of ours, I was like,
It felt yeah, it
it's
really did.
weeks.
Like, January was the longest year ever. Like, this is what it
Yes,
felt like. It was
seriously.
so long.
It's insane.
It's crazy because you don't it's like at some point you just wanna know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even
Oh,
after
God.
weeks, you're just like, "I can't keep doing this every single day.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is crazy." It's like the lack of sleep, and even for me, I'm still catching up.
Yeah.
From January, like, the lack of sleep and the constant go, 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 and, like,
Yeah.
the adrenaline always.
Mhm.
Your adrenaline is constantly going, and then every
Yes.
time your phone rings, you're like, "Oh my god, is that an update?
Yeah.
What did something happen?"
I'm like,
Oh,
which
oh,
law enforcement officer is this? Oh, it's okay, cool. And I'm just casually talking with like an FBI agent on a Wednesday. And I'm like, this is my job, but this is my life.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
then journalists are calling you.
Yes.
And it's just insane. And I do want to talk a little bit about, we'll talk about this in a little bit, but I want to touch on some of the things that are told like to the media first before the families even hear it. Like,
Mm.
I don't know if you guys have went through any of that yet, but we did.
Mhm.
And so it's definitely something I want to touch on
Interesting. Okay.
because I
Yeah.
had
I'm trying to think if that's it.
journalists like reach out about specific information before we
And you're like,
knew
what?
about it. And I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah.
And I mean, they were just very nice, but
Yeah.
it's like that should not be
Yeah.
how things are going. We should
Yeah.
be hearing from the detectives first. Give the detectives time to talk to us
Right.
first before we
Exactly.
publish it.
Oh man.
So yeah, so it's definitely a problem, and it's not the first time. Well, I personally went through it with my family, but I've heard from other missing people.
Yeah.
The people,
That unfortunately doesn't surprise me, but I hate to say it. I'm trying to think if that has happened to us. I like we've been. I mean, I hate saying this out loud because nobody, almost nobody's as fortunate as we are in our case. But I mean, we've been very lucky with law enforcement, and I have a great relationship with our lead detective, and we call each other, every other day to update on what they're doing. And my dad went missing in a very like awkward area of Chicago too. It's like right on the edge of Chicago City proper, and then there's a bunch of small. That's where like the south suburbs start. So all the like smaller police departments like Alsip, Marinette Park, Blue Island, Worth, and whatever. They're all working together too. And I mean, this is like the biggest thing that any of those small police departments have ever had to like deal with down there. Or like one of the biggest cases.
Yeah.
So they're all super invested and always working. So luckily we've been in great communication since the start. I'm trying to think if there's ever been a case where media has asked me about something where I'm like, huh? I don't think so. Just because I mean like
yeah,
I think that's mainly just because we haven't had any update. Like, literally, okay, the moment we found out that my dad was officially missing was like after all of those sightings had occurred on Ring cameras and stuff. So, like,
Mm.
on November 26th, that's still when we were like kind of finding out. And my dad had already been at the church that day, like the last sighting. So, like, we started the search, we notified media, da 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 da. Like, all of that happened like after all of his storyline. Like, you know what I mean? Like we were
Yeah.
still finding out. So there hasn't been any updates since we found out that he was missing, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
so
There wasn't any additional information.
yeah, there wasn't like I know in your case it was like, oh, there's a street camera of Linda walking towards the lake, or like here, oh, we found our car, like stuff like that. Like none of that has really unfortunately taken place with us. We got the body cam footage from the car crash response like over a month ago or something from Cook County, and that was a pretty big update, even though it didn't tell us anything about where he was. But that was sent straight to us, and luckily I watched it first, and then I sent it to our family, and then my mom posted like a small clip of it on Facebook. But within like 10 minutes, ABC called me and was like, "Hey, we saw the body cam footage. Can we do it?" And I'm like, "Sure." Like
Mhm.
so. I think that was the only thing that
Yeah.
like literally the only update.
Well, and I mean, that's a good thing that you haven't experienced anything negative.
It is. I hate to say it, but like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's I can imagine that's a big issue, especially with a case like yours that was like constantly evolving, and you have to keep up with
Yeah.
everything. So
And it's crazy because even with ours, like Linda's case went viral really quick.
yeah,
And then there
that's
were
right.
all the conspiracies and like the whodunit, and then,
Yes,
pointing at my uncle Antoine. And
right.
we knew that it wasn't him. And there was information that we knew
Yeah.
that we had already talked to the detectives about, but we
Mhm.
couldn't share that yet. Like at this point, we already knew that she was seen
Yeah,
on footage, but we couldn't share that yet. Like,
yeah,
there's certain things like you don't want to jeopardize an investigation,
dude. Yeah,
especially when it's your loved one. Like just in general, you don't want to do that.
yeah. And there's so
But
many like there's so much confidential stuff that like maybe
yeah,
will get released eventually, but it's not essential for the public to know right now. And
exactly.
I know what you mean with the conspiracy theory people. I luckily it's cooled down a little bit for us because most folks know about the case that are keeping up with our Facebooks. But like when we first started this, that like that's why the comments are off on the Find Dan Davis page, by the way. If like we get a lot of comments like, why are your comments off? How is this productive? And I'm like, well, it's because the comments are especially in the beginning, the comments were mostly conspiracy theories, misinformation, prayer emojis, questions that we answered 50,000 times. And it's like, it's to keep everything streamlined, to like factual information that's on the page so it doesn't start like a frenzy. But yeah, people will just like be like, I think he did this and this, and something's telling me the family's not being whatever. Like this case is rubbing me the wrong way. The daughter definitely knows something. Like, they're because we have a GoFundMe, and they're like, they're just trying to keep the money or whatever. And I'm like, like, it's like crazy. It's
Mhm.
so.
It's
I know
insane.
what you mean.
It's insane.
I
We went through it too, and then I had to be the spokesperson and, like, say, "Okay, listen," when I was able to release the information, because I was waiting, I was like, "Man, I cannot wait until I can at least, put out a statement or something,"
Yeah.
because then that takes such a toll on like, on your family,
Yeah.
and it was taking a toll on my family big time,
Uh-huh.
because then I mean, granted, any coverage is coverage at that point, when
I was thinking that too. I was like,
it's
well,
like
you're
any
watching the
coverage is
videos, aren't you?
coverage.
Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, it's like, for me, I have thicker skin because I'm
Mhm.
used to this, but my family was not.
No.
I was like, just stay off social media.
Yeah.
Don't go on there. I got it. I'll handle it.
Yeah.
Um, I don't even give any thought or energy to any of those.
Yeah,
Like, I just don't.
I don't read the comment sections that aren't from posts that we posted directly. Like if Fox News posts a clip of our segment on the Fox News Facebook page, like those comments under the news channels Facebook pages are crazy. They're like, have they looked in the place he was last seen? Have they checked the water? Just vague the water. There was one comment from somebody. Somebody said, "Have you checked outside? Have you looked outside?" Like literally just outside was the suggestion, and I was like,
No,
actually, no.
think of that.
We've actually only been looking indoors. I never would have ever thought to check the outside of a building. I
Yeah,
was like,
no, I know. It's
the
it's crazy.
TikTok investigator at university.
Yeah.
Like,
I know, it gets a little wild, and then you have
okay.
people that are really, really they really genuinely mean
Yes.
well,
Yes.
and I
I can tell.
I give them the credit, they mean well, but
Totally.
sometimes it's just like, it's not helpful. It's really not
I
helpful.
know. I'm not here to complain about people's suggestions. Like, we get a lot of the same suggestions nowadays because we've done everything, and I'm
It's just the
not
off
saying
the
don't.
wall ones.
But yeah,
Like, there's
the
some
crazy ones
really
are like, no, we
bizarre,
don't.
off the wall ones. Yeah, and then then there's the attacking, it's like
Yeah.
and then the crazy, weird conspiracy like, they're creating their own, like,
They want it to be more
drama.
interesting so bad. Yeah, I'm
It's like,
like,
I'm sorry, it's not as interesting
I
as you're
know. I
trying
was
to
like, this.
spin it.
I'm like, none of this is true, but this is a good script. You should send this to Warner Brothers.
Right?
I'm like, whatever you're making up right now is actually more exciting than what we're dealing with. So,
Yeah, but let's stick to the
yeah.
facts, right? So, but yeah, I really wanted to touch on some of that stuff though, because
Mhm.
even with like I said, with the information being leaked, so for us, it was the autopsy results. It was Linda's
Oh,
autopsy results. We did not. We were waiting. We were waiting.
you didn't get that first?
No,
Damn.
I actually heard from a journalist. It was a journalist that called,
Why wouldn't, what is the,
and they're like, "Hey, I'm sure you
I'm
the
sure you
autopsy.
know.
Yeah, I'm sure you know about the autopsy results." And I'm like, "Let me stop you there. No, I no,
Pause.
I don't."
No?
And she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry to be the first one to tell you this." And then just like,
And then,
and had said, what the results
oh
were,
my God.
and my heart sank into my stomach because I was like, "Oh my God."
That's insane. In that moment, did you know that she was already passed on, or was this the moment that you
Yeah, so
were
we
just
had
finding
already,
out how?
yeah, right.
Okay.
So we had already found her at that
Okay.
point. And so we were just trying to
So
find
that
out.
would be even more insane if that's how they broke the news to you. Like,
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
yeah, that's
Still.
how we found out. And I just happened to be at my in-laws' house. That was there,
Mhm.
and I stepped away
Yeah.
to take the call, and
Yeah.
I had to like break the news that way. So, and that was just not the way that we wanted it
No.
to happen. And I'm not blaming like the police or the detectives or anything. Obviously,
Yeah.
the information got leaked, but it's just things like that should not happen.
No.
That should not happen.
Yeah.
And so that's
Messed up.
another thing that I'm trying to work on to see if there's any way to like pass some type of legislation or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what can be done, but something needs to
I
be
know.
done because
Yeah.
it's not okay,
Exactly.
especially in these circumstances.
I assume
So,
it was Chicago police that was leading your case, CPD?
yeah,
Yeah.
CPD.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't have any complaints. I mean, they were good. I mean, obviously, I
Yeah.
think there's always room for improvement.
Mhm.
Even for us, there were things we did right. There were things we could have done better. There were things
Yeah.
we didn't know.
Totally.
But
We didn't know anything. We still are learning. Yeah.
right, and so yeah, and you're just trying to do your best. So
Right.
we know they're trying to do their best. We're trying to do our best,
Right.
and so that's another reason why I'm starting, the program in my aunt's name
Yeah.
to like bridge that gap and to
Right.
make sure like other families don't have to go through that. because it's not
That's
something
insane.
I would wish on anybody.
Yeah.
So, and it was so
Mm.
crazy connecting with you because I remember during the time that we were looking for Linda, like so many people had reached out and they're like, you should connect with Wendy Davis.
Yeah.
And I had heard about your dad's case.
Yeah.
I was so and like consumed in my aunt's case,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that was like what I was
We were
thinking.
consumed in ours, and I heard about Linda, and I was like, "Oh my god, like, 2 crazy things happening at once," and, like, I was never worried about and, like, right now, there's, like, the Nancy Guthrie case happening, which
Yeah,
is, like, a totally not at all the same as what we went through, but, still. But, yeah, and I saw yours blow up at the same time, and we kinda helped each other out, honestly, because we were kind of our stories were kinda bouncing off each other in the media, and a lot of comments were like, "Do you think this is connected to Dan?" And, like, da, 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 and I was like, "Oh, well, it's kind of, like"
yeah,
I mean, nothing is good about what's happening, but I'm just saying, like, we kinda,
right.
you know.
But it's just crazy that both of our family's cases like went viral. Like in
Yes.
the Chicago area, it's not something that happens often.
Yeah.
Like a lot of missing persons cases, especially in Chicago, there's so many of them.
Yeah.
Uh, they don't get a lot of media
Do you know why
coverage.
yours blew up? Because I still don't know why mine blew up.
I
Like
think part of it, I think there was a couple of factors into
yeah.
why it did. I think the first thing was honestly me knowing
Yeah.
what to do and getting on it right away, doing the flyer, reaching out to media. I have a lot of connections in this space,
There you go.
so people were already sharing and spreading the word. So it started to go viral pretty quickly, and
Mhm.
then the news station started reaching out. But then I think what helped it really go over the edge was honestly the conspiracy theories. Like everybody saying that,
Yeah.
Antoine did something to my aunt and
That's how unfortunately, that is how I found out too. It was on TikTok, and, like, it wasn't like a hateful video or anything, it was just like an ABC News video, and then all the comments were like, "We all know what happened," or whatever,
yeah,
and
or
I didn't know
no, it's the
anything about the
husband.
case, so I was, like,
Yeah,
reading it, and I was like, "Huh, interesting, whatever. Next video." Like,
yeah,
whatever, but, yeah, so, unfortunately, like, I mean, obviously, we don't want conspiracy theories, we don't want people
right.
spreading misinformation,
But it
and
it
at the same time
definitely
yeah,
helps get more coverage. I mean,
yeah,
then Nancy Grace took it over and
yeah,
um and I was asked to be on Nancy Grace too. My in-laws were supposed to be on and they just
mhm,
at the time it was just too
sure,
much.
yeah, yeah,
And so by the time they had reached out to me and by the time I saw the message, it was
mhm, yeah,
like it had already
already
happened and
done,
I was like, "Oh, sorry,"
yeah,
But I had talked to so many media outlets, yeah, the Tribune, the Chicago Sun-Times,
yep,
all of the news stations,
mhm,
did podcasts on it. So we got a lot of coverage really, really quickly. And then, it's crazy. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people too, and even in the most recent article on the Tribune, um,
yeah,
with Tess who had interviewed me.
yeah,
She came here, she's amazing. But she actually asked, she's like, I know one of the biggest issues with missing persons cases is demographics too, like who gets the coverage and who doesn't. And I
mhm,
was like, she's like, can we talk about it? I was like, please, because it is an issue. Like,
yeah,
and I am very well aware that my aunt is a white woman,
yep,
Chicago public school teacher. So
mhm,
I mean, she fit the mold to be able to get all the media coverage in
right,
addition to everything we were already doing.
yeah.
Like,
That was, like, her main description, was, like, "Missing CPS teacher," and I think that is what grabbed a lot of attention too, which is, like, I don't know, I mean, I picture that as an advantage on your end, like,
yeah, it was,
something to
yeah.
get
Well,
people to care.
and it's weird to talk about it in that sense, but when you
Yeah,
have a missing persons case, you need as much coverage as
I
possible,
know,
and
it's like
so when you get it, it's a great thing because you're like, "Okay, more people are gonna help. You're gonna
mhm,
get more eyes on this case and more people looking for her."
yeah,
Um, but I'm very well aware that there are so many cases, and even in Chicago, that don't get any media coverage. They
no,
don't get on the news, they don't get an article, they don't
yeah,
get, the Tribune and the sometimes reaching out and
yeah,
coming to their home and things like that. So, I realize that that's an issue, and I think that's another reason I'm trying to start more local, even
mhm,
in my organization, is helping local cases as many as I can.
yeah,
Obviously we're a very small organization, and it's just me and my very small team.
mhm,
Rose and Sam, love you,
yeah,
ladies, you're amazing. But yeah, it's a problem.
yeah,
It's an issue. But I think that's something that's come up a lot too, is like, well, why do you think Linda got more coverage than,
mhm,
these other cases? And
yeah,
I do have to remind them too, like, I think, yes, that is a factor. It
yeah,
is. It is. But I'm already in this space. I
mhm,
already knew what to do. I already had the connections. I was already putting it out there.
yeah,
And then people are intrigued not only by Linda's story, but they're intrigued by mine, you
Yeah.
know? And I didn't want this to be about me at all.
So, yeah,
That was the one thing I was like, I don't want it to be about me. I want to
exactly.
talk about Linda. The
I relate
focus
to
is
that
her.
100% because I also like I'll publicly ask like I don't know why people care so much about my dad. I don't know why this is blown up as much as it has, whatever. And a lot of people either comment back or they'll tell me and they're like, honestly, a lot of it is you. Like the way you're telling the story is engaging. You're real and an interesting person, supposedly. I don't know. I'm
No,
like,
you are.
I don't know, whatever.
I'll vouch for
I'm
that.
just a lady. Um, like, the way you tell the story is interesting, and it's also just the fact that your dad is, just an ordinary, normal, fairly I don't wanna I almost said uninteresting. He is interesting. I mean, like, he's not a celebrity, he's not, like, any kinda high profile, whatever. Um,
He's just a normal
a
guy from
normal guy that
Chicago,
wants
you
to
know,
just
like,
that can
yeah,
just vanish, supposedly. So, yeah, and I mean, yeah, so the majority of, like, why your aunt's case blew up is because you were doing most of the legwork with the media and reaching out to people and the news and whatever,
yeah,
and I think that was I mean, that's still the case with us, is, like, your case isn't just gonna magically go viral,
right?
like, by luck. It's like we're doing the work for that to happen, so, like, I mean, I think God, I don't remember how like, ABC, like, the big news outlets were immediately notified. I think it was when the missing persons report was created by CPD, because then with every missing persons report, like, the police department sends it out automatically to the news stations and just, like, places that print out flyers and put them in public spaces. Like, I don't know what those are called, but I don't know how the news networks pick and choose which stories they want to actually cover, but I mean, as soon as that happened, like we had a huge gathering at Bourbon Street on Black Friday, which was 2 days after he officially went missing. And it was like 100 people. It was all my dad's closest friends. A lot of my close friends that had never met my dad were there. And a lot of the news outlets were there to interview me in person. And I was like, how's the news here? I was so confused, but at the time I was just like, just go with it. Just do what we need to do. And I'm still saying yes to like everything, anything that can get us, even if it's like a tiny local news outlet, paper, or whatever that wants to cover my dad's story. I'm like, yes, let's chat, whatever. Like anything that we can
Yeah,
share, is great. But yeah, I mean, yeah. And when I started making my TikToks and my videos online, that really helped us because the first couple of videos I posted, the first one got like what, like 2 million views in a day or something, and then the next one now has like almost 8 million. Like,
wow,
and I don't know. Again, I don't know why those blew up so much. Maybe it's the way I'm telling the story. Maybe it's the mystery of the vanishing or whatever. But staying consistent with that type of stuff and like making videos even when there's not much of an update to share, which is like now. Um I'm telling stories just about my dad and about his personality and answering questions and doing stuff like this like Find Dan Day weekend, which I guess we haven't talked about it yet, whatever. Just having something to talk about, even if it's like not a huge update, just staying consistent with that so that people keep his name in their mind. And a lot of news networks reached out to me because they saw my videos online and because they went viral. They're like, hey, I saw your TikTok. Do you mind if we do a quick story about this? Whatever. Like People Magazine called me randomly. And like, so
yeah,
a lot of it, like a lot of publicity is because of the family doing the like work to keep it out.
yeah.
So that's not just gonna happen to you. It's like, you know,
You have to go with it. Well,
yeah,
that's the thing too, even for me. It was a little stressful because I would have
little.
a new a lot stressful. I would have, like, a news station reach out, and they're like, "Oh, we can come to you in 2 hours, you know, to
Yeah.
do an interview," and I
And I'm
wouldn't
like,
be home. I know, I wouldn't be home, and then I
live
would
there.
come home like a crazy person and like, "All right, family, we gotta stick together,
Gotta
we gotta
go.
pitch in, everyone needs to pitch in,
Yeah.
we need to get this house squared away, ready, studio ready to go for the news crew that's gonna come." And so I never said no.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Still
"I
don't.
cannot say no." That's the thing. Like, don't say no. I
Mhm.
know it may be inconvenient, but if it's gonna get more exposure, then that's what
Say
you
yes
have
to
to do.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not easy to say yes to everything.
Yeah.
You
No.
know, there's days where you're just really exhausted and you're tired and you're like,
Yeah.
"Can I do this today?" Like,
Yeah.
mentally and emotionally,
Mhm.
it's overwhelming.
It's like, well, if I say no, then they might not get back to me again, and then we just missed
Exactly.
another big opportunity to like get a bump in.
Yeah, and that's another thing is, like, the news stops talking about it. You don't want them to stop talking about
Yeah.
it, you know,
Which they
especially
will eventually, but, like,
yeah,
if you don't have anything to update them
you
on.
gotta keep putting it out there.
Yeah.
Do whatever you have to do, and I think what you're doing too is another reason that's helped the case
Mhm.
go viral, and like you said, it's just the storytelling, but you're allowing people to connect with your dad in a way that, you know, like, it allows them to emotionally get
Yeah.
connected, like, they personally know him,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
I think that's what helps, like, when you're making him an actual person,
Yeah.
you know, he is a person, but when people hear about stories and stuff online,
Yeah.
a lot of times that factor kind of
Yeah.
gets pushed in
It's
the
hard to
back.
connect to that.
It's like you realize this is a real person and this is
Yeah.
a real family, right? But when you're able to tell stories like that and
Yeah.
explain the type of person that he
Exactly.
was.
And I've made a couple videos now where I've attached, like, some just silly videos of my dad and I goofing off and, like, throwing food at each other or, like, like, just, laughing about something, and, when I posted my first video of all of that, all the comments were like, "I'm so glad you did this because your dad reminds me so much of my dad, and, like, now I understand what type of person he is. He's just goofy. He's just I can whatever." And I was like, "Why didn't I do this so much sooner?" Like, I posted that first video of him, like, just silly videos of him, I think, like, a month into the investigation, and I was like, "I should have done this, like, first thing so people, like, know who he is right away." Um,
But you learn.
yeah,
You
yeah,
learn as you go.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, because when you see a missing person, all you see is their face on the poster, and it's hard to, like, connect and, like, fully care if you don't know who they are or, what so, yeah, got
Exactly.
it.
And it's the same thing with Linda too. Like
Right.
every time like a news outlet would ask me, like, you know, what is so special about Linda? Or
Mhm.
what is one thing that you loved about Linda? And it was her laugh. Like
Oh, yeah.
everyone would tell me, like, or I would tell everybody it was always her laugh. Like
Oh.
always she had the most unique, most ridiculous laugh that you would like I'm not kidding. It was like like it was the best
The
though.
Justin like, that viral Justin Bieber clip where he's being interviewed, and he's like, "I like your laugh."
Yeah.
Ah.
But just imagine her as, like, really loud, like, really
You
loud.
can hear it from half a state
You
away.
literally
Yeah.
could, like, that's the first time I met
It's
Linda
so funny.
because Linda is, my aunt by marriage, like,
Okay, I get it.
from my husband,
Yeah.
so from my husband's side, so I met her when I was only 18 years old, so I've been
Mhm.
in the family for over 20 years,
Okay.
and, I remember the first time I heard that laugh, I was like, "What in the
What
world
was
is
that?
that?"
Yes.
And I start laughing because 'cause I'm like, "What was
It's
that?"
contagious.
It is contagious, and it's just
My dad's got them funny. It's similar to he'll have, like, if something makes him laugh out of nowhere, he'll go like, "Ha!" He'll, like he'll have, like, this yell, and then, like, when he gets laughing really hard, he'll just, like, kinda crumple and grab onto something, and it's, like, silent laugh where he's like, like
but it's, like,
so
really dramatic and, like, really out there. Yes.
So I posted one video recently of my dad, like, in the very beginning of the video, he does, like, kind of laugh, and, I think it's important too to just share videos of what your missing loved one sounds like the way they talk and laugh and whatever, in case you hear them or talk to them, but like, in public or something. I unfortunately just don't have that many videos of him talking. Like, I would press record when my dad is doing something stupid, and, like, he wouldn't be talking, maybe just like I don't whatever
Just
he's
doing
doing.
something.
Yeah, and then I'd stop, and that was it. So I only have, like, 2 videos of my dad actually, like, talking like a normal human being. But
Well,
yeah,
and that's
that's funny
something
that her laugh.
yeah, and her definitely her laugh, and, you know, it's sad because
Yeah.
you realize, like, it was the same thing with us, we didn't have a lot of video
Yeah,
of Linda, like, we had
like
pictures and stuff, but even the pictures, it was, like, more like group photos, and I
yes,
was like, "Oh
same.
my gosh," like, us going to Michigan,
Yeah.
you know, like, there wasn't a lot of intimate or, like, videos because
Normal smiling at the camera,
right.
like
'Cause I think too, just, like, Linda was in her 50s, and she wasn't tech
mhm,
savvy, she wasn't big in phones and
right.
photos and all of that and videos,
Yeah.
but now it's like, I do it with my kids, I've always been that way with my kids, where I'm like, I need to be more like that with the rest of my family and, like,
Yeah,
force
now that
them
you
to take
know yeah,
videos.
right?
Yeah, like, we're
I
taking videos, we're gonna take more
yeah.
pictures
I feel
because
the same way too, and I'm trying to find good pictures of my dad to share for
yeah,
whatever, and I was going through all my photos and videos of him, and like I said, like, every moment I spend with him, we're just being stupid, and, I'm thinking, I'm like, if I could go back in time and tell my dad that in a year I would be needing to find a picture of him for his missing persons poster, and every picture I have of him is him being a dickhead, like, every picture I have of him is, like, us at lunch, and he's like or, like, just him making a dumb face,
just
and
being so
I'm like,
yeah,
"Okay, I have 2 pictures of my dad smiling, so those are what we're using, I
yeah,
guess." So
but it's things like that too that
right.
you don't think about.
Yeah.
It's like, what information would I need? Like, what if I
Yeah.
went missing? What would my husband need? How would he be able to
What would be
access
my
it?
picture?
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
it's things like that, and that's another thing I'm working on too, is like having basically like an entire kit of all the information that you would need, like all the
Yes.
information we didn't have. And that's a thing too, like we didn't have a lot of good pictures. Like a lot of them were pixelated because
Mhm.
Linda took a lot of pictures on her phone, and she didn't have like the best phone 'cause she didn't care.
Yeah.
It wasn't important to her. Same with Antoine. It wasn't like a
Right.
big deal. So, but yeah, like information, same thing with Linda. There was information that Antoine didn't have access to because she handled all the bills and all the things. And like
Still struggling with that.
he
Yep.
didn't deal with that. So
Mhm.
he had no idea what passwords were and how to get into like what websites were. And
Yes.
all of that would have been so helpful because we would have been able to access information, very important information,
Mhm.
sooner if we would have had it. Would have had access to it.
I have a question. Were you ever, and you don't have to answer this, but were you ever able to like get access to her data and find any clues in like her accounts and stuff that maybe would have told you where she was or where or what she was going through in her head or anything? Or was that just kind of not?
We were really close to getting
Oh, yeah.
information, but by the time we were getting closer to like accessing her information, like the police were able
Oh,
to.
okay. So you never even got to access it until.
Yeah,
Okay.
we never got to access it.
Yeah.
But the police at that point had already found her car, and then we're like, okay,
All right,
like,
it's moving. Yeah.
yeah. And then they found the footage, and we're like, okay, this is good.
Yeah.
We're on the right track. But yeah, that's a thing too because it's really hard. And then even the police have to follow protocol. Like they can't just
Yeah.
get access to certain things.
Exactly. People think that's something that people online, like a lot of my comments early on were like, have you checked his bank statements? And we still can't get
Yeah,
his bank account because we're not on the account. And that's
they will not release that.
they can't,
information.
you can't even go into a Chase and ask the teller. I have my dad's bank account. I have his routing number, his account number, like whatever. I have Social Security. I have all my dad's information. If I walk in and I'm like, hey, here's all my dad's info. Would you be able to just tell me if he's used his card since this date? They can't pull up anybody's bank account and just look at it. Even if nobody's there, they're like a bank teller's by themselves. They're like, let me look at this person. That's like so against the rules.
Yeah.
Especially now, like with like a viral, like everyone knows who my dad is. And like the Chase manager at a Chase branch that we last went to was like, I know about your dad's case. I really, really want to help you. But at this point, like, unfortunately, with how high profile this is, it would be like me looking at like Bill Gates as a bank account. Maybe like it's like they would know and I would get in trouble.
Yeah.
So it's
crazy.
it's insane.
It's crazy the processes. I mean, and that's frustrating too. Because you're like, man, if we could just know, like, what was the last
There
charge?
was like
Was it used?
there was one. Obviously, I'm not going to out her or anything, but there was one Chase employee at a certain Chase branch that did help us early on, and I was like, she knew about the case. I brought a flyer, and she was around my age, and she had like whatever. I could tell she was like a cool alt girl, and I was like, she's gonna help me. It's like if it was an old lady, I'd be scared. But she was cool, and she like for the first couple times I went into that Chase, she was able to pull up his account and just say, "Yep, nope, no activity since November 22nd is the date that we were last told." So she was super cool in doing that for me when she's not supposed to. And we only asked her twice because the third time I tried to come in, like a month or so after I'd last seen her, we were intercepted by the by the manager of that Chase as I was walking towards the girl, and she was like, "Hi, can I help you?" And I'm like, "Shit." So
Yeah.
we were busted.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a great like thing to know, like just to be ready with before you have a loved one go missing. God forbid, it's just like you never know if you're going to need access to your loved one's accounts, or not like you don't need to have their password, but like maybe like I don't
Like
know,
phone
like
information,
yeah,
like password logins to get
sure.
access to like call logs or just stuff like that.
Share your
You never
location
know.
with your parents on your phone.
Right,
Like
location access.
my dad had a Samsung, and he was not signed up for any Samsung tracking location, Google location track, none of that. He doesn't have any Apple products, so no like AirTag, no nothing.
Yeah.
And like he had just one key thing in his phone that we could track. We still don't know where his phone is. Had he had like one thing for us to keep track of, like this would have been so much quicker. So that's a great thing to put in your rule book.
Yeah.
Is like, share at least a little bit of stuff with, your loved ones.
Right,
So,
like certain pertinent
Sure.
information
Yeah.
that makes sense to share,
Mhm.
obviously. But yeah, that was another thing is like so many people, even Nancy Grace was like talking about why don't they have tracking or like why didn't Linda have something like tracking on her phone?
Yeah.
Why didn't her and her husband
It's
share
not
that?
CSI.
It's like not everybody has that. Like I do. Like me and my family have Life 360. That's free. And I
Mhm.
always recommend it. I
Yeah.
recommend we're not sponsored by Life 360, but if you'd like to,
I like to.
but we use it. We've been using it for years. All my kids have it on their phones.
Mhm.
We know where they're at. And I love it because it tells us where they're at.
Yep.
It tells me when they're driving, whether it's a risky drive, what
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like it's funny because it shows like the little like my husband too. He's mostly the risky driver,
Yeah.
okay? Not my kids, luckily. So, but yeah, like I know it'll tell me how fast they're going, like
Mhm.
whether it's a risky drive. And I
Yeah.
love it because it shows like the little car and it's like
Yeah, it's
going really fast, like with the little like it's like little vroom vroom in the
Yeah, you
back,
can
and
track
like
every
you can see
detail.
the clouds. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay,
The clouds.
dude, risky drive, buddy.
Okay.
Slow it down there.
God, that's so funny.
But I mean, it does. It's a great tool. It's great. And again, it's free. We don't pay for it. But stuff like that, simple things like that are just helpful. Even if you're just sharing like with your friends, significant other,
Yeah.
even my kids, like friends, cousins, all of them, they share on Life 360 so they
Yeah.
know where their location is. And so I'm never worried about
Mhm.
not knowing where they're at.
Right.
But that's not the case with like with my aunt
Yeah, or like
or with
older
your dad.
folks or
Yeah,
yeah.
they're not tech savvy. Like
Yeah.
even my parents, that they don't.
Put an AirTag in your dad's wallet. Put a, like something that they don't have to pay attention to,
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
That they don't have to think about, they don't have to keep up with.
Yep.
Just something simple, but
Yeah.
it's so important because even if you never think it's going to happen to you, you'd
Mhm.
never know. You
Yeah.
just never know, and it's better to be safe than sorry.
Right.
And then when you're in the situation, it's things like this that you don't think about, like, "Oh my god, we didn't know that we wouldn't be able to access this, or this is gonna prolong this whole
Yeah.
investigation, or prolong us from finding them," and just little things like that, and
Exactly.
it
Yeah.
makes it really difficult. So,
Right.
in terms of your dad too, did he have any medical conditions or anything, like, prior? Was there anything going on that
Not that we knew of. So my dad was the type of person that has literally not even spoken to a doctor probably since I was born in the hospital. Like literally he does not go to the doctor, doesn't go to the dentist, he's never had a surgery. He like got stitches once since I was born and maybe that's it. Like literally he does not. So there could have been some like, I'm sure he has some kind of medical condition that even he didn't know about, but, like, the obvious like, dementia or stroke, like, obvious things, no. And I've spoken to his closest friends, his manager, his closest coworkers that spend every waking minute with him, and I'm like, "Are you sure you haven't noticed anything weird with my dad in the last few months? Like, memory issues or, like, weird walking patterns or anything?" And everyone's like, "No, like, he'll talk to himself sometimes," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's him." Like he'll just whatever. But nothing obvious, no memory. Yeah, so that's how we know that it was a sudden medical episode that happened at his apartment. Like, has to be a stroke. Like we don't know for sure because we haven't found him. We don't know. But like, there's literally no other explanation. Like, it has to be a sudden, like,
Yeah.
you know. Um. So yeah, but no mental history. I mean, like his mom had a stroke. My grandma had a stroke like 20 years ago or something. So it does run in our family, and I would not be shocked at all if he had one. But yeah, we just don't know.
And then the car accident, like, what happened? I know I've seen some of the footage, but
Yeah.
what happened with that? They just let him go, or what was the
Um. So we're like 90% sure that the accident was my dad's fault because we watched all the body cam footage. There was like an hour's worth of body cam footage. We only released like a 30-second clip just to protect everything.
Yeah.
But the rest of the footage was fairly uneventful. So, but we're pretty sure that my dad swerved into the other lane, hit the other driver head on, and conveniently the accident happened literally in the driveway of the Garden Homes Fire Department. Like,
Oh, wow.
so
Yeah.
EMS was just there. Like, no one had to like
Just,
come out
like,
and respond.
walked
They just
out,
walked
yeah.
out of it. Yeah, literally, it was right there. So EMS did come out. They checked out the other guy. They were ready to look at my dad. Like, my dad spoke to an EMS like person, and he was like, "They're like, are you sure you don't need anything? You don't want to just get looked at real quick?" And my dad's like, "No, I'm fine. I'm good. Whatever." And that's totally my dad. He waves everything. I'm just like, I'm good. All right, whatever. So yeah, so and unfortunately, like, if the person's not like visibly bleeding and injured and whatever, they can't like they don't know what my dad's baseline of behavior is.
Right.
So like, it took a couple of watches for the body cam footage, but me, my mom, and my dad's closest family, like a couple of my cousins, his siblings, we watched it and we noticed little details with my dad's behavior. Like we could tell there's a couple of words that he slurred. My dad couldn't fully remember how the accident happened, and the officer had to keep reminding him. They were like, "No, no, don't tell me what they told you happened. Tell me what you remember." And my dad was like, "Oh, well, I'm pretty sure I was coming this way." And the officer was like, "So from X road, whatever." And he's like, I think so. So that's not like my dad. So there's little things. And then the biggest thing is the clip that we released, which is when the cop drops him off at Bourbon Street and my dad like clearly trips up the curb and is having some kind of issue with his left leg that we noticed. And it's the same leg that he's having problems with the following day. In all the videos of him walking around, we can tell like he's tripping over. So left side of his body is having some kind of issue. And we can see that a little bit in the body cam footage. And, of course, initially we're angry at Cook County Sheriff's Department for not checking out I mean, it's so hard because he denied medical treatment, and they can't
Right.
force that upon him, but the officer clearly saw my dad trip up the curb after he dropped him off and didn't take the extra second to be like, "Hey, sure you're okay, man?" Or, like, walk him inside and at least explain to someone what happened or whatever. So it's hard to look past that moment and know that that could be that the car crash is the inciting incident of this entire missing case. And we watch that footage and it's hard to know that like that could have stopped right there had an officer just been like, "You know what, man, I know you're saying no, but we just want to let's just take a look at your eyes," like something.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're not allowed to do that. But it's hard to look past that. So anyways, I at first we thought that he got a concussion in the car accident because we didn't know that he probably had a stroke beforehand. Like when we first found out that he was missing, we assumed that like maybe he was drunk driving, and which he's never done before. We're just making, I don't know, like we were like, maybe he was intoxicated and then got concussed and now he's all sorts of messed up. And we know for a fact he was not intoxicated. He wasn't bleeding. There wasn't a bump on his face or anything. We know he didn't severely hit his head, at least in the car accident. So, the car accident's kind of honestly like, it's kind of a freak coincidence in this whole
Yeah.
situation because it didn't cause him to go missing. He was already suffering something before the car accident, and we
Right.
know that. Um, so
It's just like an extra
it was just an extra thing, and people were really focused. We were really focused on that in the beginning. We're like, "Well, what happened in the car accident?" And after looking at the footage, we're like, "Well, nothing." He was just like we could tell he's a little shaken up and kind of confused, which is a little bit of a red flag. But the officer doesn't know how my dad acts normally. They don't know that
right.
maybe my dad has a problem with his leg normally. Maybe that's just how he talks, and because it's not obvious.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much all the details we know about the accident.
Man.
So,
And that's kind of, and now you're just in this position where it's just like still trying to
yeah,
get additional information or any additional sightings, anything at this point.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, we're kind of in the phase where we're like, I mean, there's, like, literally no details that we've overlooked at this point. Like, I mean, we've hit multiple walls where, like, we feel like we're on this really productive track. We're like, "Okay, cool, like, this is getting checked, these cameras are getting looked at, this team is coming in to help us, da 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 da." And we'll have a week where there's, like, a lot happening, which is, like, this week is an example of that. We feel pretty productive right now, but I'm sure in 2 weeks we're gonna be like, ugh, like, it'll just sink down again, and we're like, "Alright, well, now what?" And it's those moments where we're like, "Oh god, what can we even do?" Like, we've done everything, and, yeah, I mean, I just wanna say we are just as confused as the public is with how we've had no sightings. Like, it's a complete vanishing situation. Even we have our lead detective has done so many missing persons cases, and he has a lot of he's a really, really good detective, and we're working with county and the FBI and, like, whatever. No matter how professional, how experienced our law enforcement people are, they're just as confused as we are. They're like
Yeah.
they're thinking of the most logical things. They're checking all the abandoned areas and all the wooded areas and everything around the spot that my dad was last known to be at, because that's just they're focused on the facts that we know,
Right.
and they're not like we can't just go rogue and look in Indiana, some random place. Like we don't know which direction he could have gone. So
Right.
but yeah, it's an agonizing like waiting game that I'm sure you understand, where you're like, what can I do? I don't know where they went. I don't know what to even check. We just kind of have to wait for someone to come forward and have a video that is him.
Yeah. And that's
So
hard. The waiting
it
is brutal.
sucks because
It's brutal.
you don't want to just do nothing. We're
Right,
not
and
just sitting and doing nothing. We're doing stuff like this and, like, keeping his name out, but the other half of us is, like, kind of waiting, doing, like, kind of just
right.
waiting. So,
Yeah, it's such a weird, like, I don't even know how to explain it.
yeah.
Like, you just get in this weird, like, mode where it's like, okay, like, you're going and going, but, like, you're still stuck at that same time,
Yeah.
and you don't really know what to do, but you're doing everything you know you're supposed to be
Yeah.
doing, and that's the hard thing too, and it was like that with us, with Linda. We did the search parties, and we searched everywhere, like, we searched the homeless camps,
Yeah.
we searched everywhere, and it's ironic where we found her was literally, I mean, we were so close to her, like,
Yes.
our last day of search, we were so close, but whatever, and everyone, one thing that they asked, like, how did you guys not find her?" Well, it's Lake Michigan,
Yeah.
and it's
Maybe
huge.
because it's the biggest lake one of the biggest lakes in the, like, world.
It's
Like, literally.
absolutely huge, and we're pretty confident that we had found, like, a few of my friends, actually, they came
Mm.
for the last day of the search party, and they we believe we found Linda's hat, like,
Oh, yeah.
in the lake, and so, um, that was something that, we were hoping it was, but and that ironically, when she was found, that was the only thing that was missing, so we were pretty sure
Yeah.
that it
Wow.
was hers, but where she was found, we couldn't access because it
Mhm.
was like, it was the docks,
I was gonna
so
ask,
it's all
I don't know if you
private.
would. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all private, like, you have to have a key, you have to
Yeah.
own a boat to get to that area, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise because where she was, there was, like, stone and rock and
Yeah.
everything kind of keeping her in that
Mhm.
area.
Holding her in place, yeah.
Otherwise, if she would've drifted out,
You would've never.
we may have
Yeah.
never found her,
Exactly.
and we never would have had closure, we wouldn't
Yeah.
have known. So that's the hard part, but
Mhm.
that's the thing, like, and we knew the area she was in, but that you never know. I mean, and Chicago's so big.
Yeah.
You could walk down in one area of the lakefront and go into a totally different neighborhood and
Yeah.
venture off somewhere
Yes.
totally
And
different,
people
so
tell us too, they're like, "Check Lake Michigan." Hey, okay. Hey, how do you want me to do that, by the way?
yeah,
Do you want
good luck.
jump right in and just put your goggles on and go look?
Yeah, yeah, sure,
Hey,
especially in
okay.
winter, with
Yeah, oh, easy.
and I took some footage
Sorry,
too
I don't
when
wanna be, like, mean and sassy. People are trying to help us. I don't wanna sound, like,
no,
terrible, but, like,
but no, I
"Hey,
mean
you going to Turk Lake, Michigan?"
but I mean, seriously though, like, and that's the thing with people that aren't from here, they were asking a lot of questions too about the lake, like,
Yeah,
so I was taking a lot of footage of the lake so people can see the lakefront because it's really
yeah.
dangerous
The
and it's
ocean.
really easy to fall.
Yeah.
Like, there's no barrier, there's no nothing. It literally goes from sidewalk, bam,
Yep.
right to the water.
Yeah,
And it's like that throughout the entire
it
lakefront.
is.
So,
People jump in it all the time for fun over the
yeah.
summer. I do.
So it's really
You
it's
gotta be
easy,
safe.
yeah,
Yeah,
and I
it's
mean, when we were searching too, it was so windy and so
oh,
cold that I was afraid to walk along it
yeah,
'cause
it'll push you.
it'll push you right in.
Yeah, it's not
So, it's not a safe, no,
yeah,
you have to be really, really careful, but,
yeah,
I mean, at this point, that's the thing, like, your dad could be anywhere.
yeah.
I mean, really,
Mhm.
like, and that was the same thing with Linda, we're like, "Man, if she's still on foot, she could be anywhere.
Mm,
Anywhere in the city, she could be on the South Side, she could be,
yeah,
who knows?
yeah,
Who knows?" So, even the most, experienced detectives too, like, that's the hard part
yeah,
because they're only gonna look at the facts.
yeah.
They're
You
not gonna
can't make
venture
magic
off.
happen. It's not yeah, people
Right.
watch, like, I I don't know, like true crime TV shows and movies and, see like, "Oh, well, we tracked the location of his da da da, and we used this technology and facial recognition, blah blah blah." And it's like, hang on, half more than half that crap is not real or not actually used in this case scenario or
Right.
whatever. And it's like everyone's asking, where did his phone last ping? And I'm like, well, at his apartment the day before he went missing. We don't know what I didn't even say that. We don't know really what happened with his phone because it was like on during the car crash, where we can see him scrolling through his phone, but like he's clearly having troubles with it. So we're thinking like some kind of SIM card issue. Maybe it's on airplane mode or like whatever. Like we can't. Anyways, but
Yeah, but that's the thing too, like,
yeah,
everyone was asking about Linda's phone too, it's like, "But just ping her phone, okay," but it's not that simple.
yeah,
The police can't just ping the phone, they
yeah,
have to reach out to the provider and
yes,
get access, and
yeah.
there's a whole process.
It actually yeah, it's not an instant
No.
thing, and luckily, like, our case, they were able to do it, like, the next day, which was cool, but still, it didn't, like, tell us anything, and we're like,
Yeah.
"Damn."
Well, yeah,
But
if the phone's off or
yeah,
it's
phone's
dead
off,
or
and it's definitely bricked now. I have no idea where his phone would be. But spectators just thinking that we're capable of all this hidden technology and magic, like,
Yeah.
it's like it's really not how it works. And everything is even if you want to get camera footage from somewhere, that can take like a day and a half because nobody knows how to work their cameras. No one's cameras were. I'm sure you
Yeah.
have struggled with that too. Like,
That was so
oh
frustrating.
my
There were
god,
cameras that didn't work or there were no cameras, like, which made no sense because when Linda was crossing the bridge, there was cameras there. There
yeah,
was, like, 2 cameras. 1 camera got her, and that's the footage that they were able to see. But
hmm
after the bridge, there are no cameras, and there really is nowhere to put a camera. I
yeah.
mean,
It's like the
you could
park.
put it on the bridge
Yeah,
maybe, but that'd be weird. Like, it's just weird angles,
yeah.
but there's nowhere else because then it goes to, like, this weird, like, kind of off path,
Is
you
it like
know?
by what harbor was it? Is it Diversity Harbor or what? Like what part of the lake?
So, it was 31st Street?
Oh, never mind.
31st Street Harbor,
Never.
yeah,
I thought it was
so
way north. Sorry.
yeah, so,
And yeah, I don't know that area.
yeah, it was kind of a weird area, but
Yeah.
there were no cameras, and
No.
there's no cameras by the lakefront either. There's no cameras there.
Yeah.
So and everyone's like, "Why is there no camera?" Well, I don't know, but there's
We're not
not.
gonna put it on a tree. It like there. It's not like a
Yeah,
yeah. And like City of Chicago does have flock cameras and everything downtown and on streets and everything. But in Blue Island, where my dad went missing, there are no like street cameras. It's not there's
yeah,
license plate reader cameras. And there's a couple of flock cameras in other surrounding towns, but it's not like the city of Chicago, like downtown,
right,
where
where
there's
it's
cameras everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah, and then that's another thing too. People are like, "Well, check the street cameras, and they have facial recognition." First of all, no, they don't.
Nice.
Second of all, there's no street cameras.
Right.
So that's why we're like going to McDonald's asking to look at their cameras. And the McDonald's manager is like, well, I don't know. It hasn't worked in 5 years. I don't think they're connected. And I'm like,
Isn't that's the most frustrating,
I literally
right?
can't.
It's
I
not
literally
we
can't.
have cameras,
Yeah.
but, oh, they're not on.
Oh, they're dead.
Yeah.
Oh, the wires got eaten
And
by
you're like, "Are you
squirrels.
freaking kidding me?"
Yeah. I'm like, well,
It's insane, but, I mean, these are just the frustrations. It's like
hmm
talking through the frustrations as a family that's gone through a missing persons case, and
yeah.
there's so many of them. But that's the thing, it's like, how how do people really help, right? So, we know what doesn't help, but
hmm
what does help? We know sharing flyers, and like you said,
Yeah.
Find Dan Day or Missing well,
Fine damn
Find
day.
Dan Day.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Sure, yeah. So, this weekend, so February 21 and 22, we're doing a big nationwide Find Dan Day, and it's both days of the weekend, 21 and 22. And we've been wanting to do something like this for a while, which is just like a day or two that's like everybody do something to help find my dad at the same time. So there's so many ways that people can help, and it's a nationwide thing because there's ways that people can help in other states too. Because again, we don't know if my dad's in Indiana at this point or
Right.
across the country or whatever. Um, so yeah, so we have a bunch of people helping us on the ground this weekend and doing door to door stuff, putting up flyers, and we have a search and rescue team coming in from out of state that's helping us again, which is great. And I'll be walking around with them a lot. Law enforcement will be out looking at. So there's a lot of stuff happening on the ground, but then people can help in other states too by calling their local hospitals in their city in Wisconsin or wherever they live or whatever, and sharing his flyers with homeless shelters in their state and calling local police departments and making sure they know about him. And like, do I think my dad is in Missouri? No,
Yeah.
like, we have no reason to believe, like, no solid reason to believe he's anywhere besides Chicago, honestly.
Right.
And I hope he is still close by, obviously. But yeah. So I mean, even if people are busy this weekend or can't physically go out and help, like, there's so many like things that people can do remotely just by making calls or just posting about it, just like posting his flyer on your story, like.
Yeah.
So there's so many ways. So, anyways, that's what we're doing this weekend, and I'm looking forward to it because we've been wanting to do this for a while, and we've truly just been waiting for a weekend that is, like, above 30 degrees in Chicago, which, like, funny enough, it's gonna be way colder this weekend than I thought it was gonna be. It's gonna
I
be, like,
know. Well, this week
30.
has been so nice.
I
It's
know, I
been,
was
like,
like,
60,
it said it
so
was gonna be
warm.
in the 40s this weekend, and now it's not, and I'm like, "Well, we're already doing the Fine Day, so
Yeah.
wear layers."
It's
Uh,
the limit.
sorry, but, yeah, so we're looking forward to it. We have again, the news has been covering it. I was just on the news this morning. Uh, but that's also a big reason why we're doing it too, because, like, my dad's case has not had any solid updates in, like, 3 months, and, unfortunately, just the way the news works, I mean, they're not gonna talk about my dad's case in the news when there's nothing new to talk about. They're not gonna talk about the same story over and over. And it sucks, but I get it. And so we're kind of doing this big nationwide Find Dan Day as like just another way to get my dad back in the media, to be honest, too.
Yeah.
Obviously we want to look for him, we want to help, spread the word and everything. But it's great that the news has something else to cover now because now he's back up in the media. Like we had Fox, CBS, ABC will be there tomorrow. Um, but probably other people. I don't know. So yeah, that's what we're doing, and I'm looking forward to it. We have a lot of help. So yes, you can find all the information for it on a Facebook event. Even if you don't have Facebook, you can still look at the event, but it's just called Find Dan Day on Facebook. And then you can also look on our big huge Facebook group, which is just called Find Dan Davis on Facebook. And yeah, that's the big one where there's daily updates posted and all the information about how you can help this weekend is in the event. And I know this will be posted after it happens, but still
Yeah.
I'll be documenting as much as I can. I want to see if I can make a little recap video of things that people did this weekend. I think that'll be fun. But
Yeah, and I'll make sure I put all of the links and everything
yeah.
and how to connect in the description
Yeah.
box, whether you're watching on YouTube or on any of the podcast platforms if you're tuning in. It'll be
Nice.
there.
Yeah.
So,
So that's what we're doing. But today's my press day, I guess, with this and
yeah.
everything. So grateful to still get the coverage that we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to some news reporters this week about the weekend, and they were asking me about Nancy Guthrie's case, which I don't know if you
Yeah.
talked about. And it's they're like, "Have you been keeping up with this?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, like I've heard a few, I've seen it. It's huge right now." And they're like, "How do you feel about that happening at the same time as your dad's case? Do you feel like it might be kind of taking away some attention or whatever?" And I'm like, honestly, no, because my dad's missing case is not a criminal investigation. Like, there's no person of interest. My dad isn't running from any crime. There's no like kidnapping. So Nancy's case, like, there's a kidnapping. There's ransom notes. There's all this insane like updates happening every day. And my dad's case is fairly like he vanished. Like,
Yeah.
so I can't compare the two. Both are insane, and Nancy's case is insane. My dad's case is insane. Like, whatever. And I'm grateful to still even be getting coverage at all because, again, like we've been saying, like most missing people don't even end up on anything.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm not going to complain if God forbid somebody else gets the spotlight. Yes, please. This is what we want to happen.
Right.
You know,
At the end of the day, it's still somebody who's missing. It's
yeah.
somebody's loved one.
Mhm.
So
It's not-
the way that I look at it is like if you're getting coverage, great. You
Yeah.
know, great.
yeah,
And unfortunately, those that aren't getting coverage, then we need to do something about it.
yeah.
You know, like
That's how people get found. Is spread the word as
exactly,
much as you can.
exactly, and that's why a lot of families too go so long
Yeah.
without finding their loved one because they're not getting the coverage.
Yeah.
And no one knows. That's the
Exactly.
problem. So, but I think you're doing a great job.
I'm trying.
You're doing everything that you
Making my
possibly can.
silly little TikToks and talking to the FBI every day and like
Yeah.
just casual life of a 27-year-old girl. Yeah, I'm trying.
So, I'm here for you too. You
Thank
know,
you.
we've been trying to support as much as we can.
Yeah, you've been amazing. She made these bracelets for us.
Oh, that's Rose. Rose did an amazing job. Yeah.
Rose,
Mine have-
yes.
We have our
See?
bracelets. I have
The
mine.
Find Dan Davis bracelets. I love these. They're so cute. I'm giving them to our like core team of searchers that have been helping us for this whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that and anyway, I know we've done the coffee sleeves. We've done the
Yeah.
sleeve campaign. So anything that
Been
we can
passing those out too. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, and you were doing that like in the wake of like your aunt as well. Like right after the news
Yeah.
broke, like you were contacting me about how you can help me, and I was like, "Aren't you mourning? Like, are you still like dealing with your stuff too right now?" I'm like, "How are you even thinking about me?" And I was like, I'm just like, that's crazy.
Thank
So
you. Well, I
thank you.
think for me, it's just naturally, it's like get back to work or
Yeah.
I'm just gonna fall apart type thing.
Yep,
You know, so
yep.
it's like
If I don't laugh, I'll cry.
yeah,
If
let
I
me
don't keep
just
moving, I'll just melt.
I will literally melt it to the floor.
Literally.
We don't want that.
Yeah.
And then I'm no use to anybody. So, but for me,
Yeah.
that's just that's where my brain goes. It's
Right.
like, okay, I gotta stay busy. Who else can I help? I
Yep.
know that's why I was like,
I love it.
who else can I help local? I really want to do more local here
Yeah,
in my own
truly.
community, in my own area. So because there's so many people that need help too. And
Yeah.
there's so many missing people. So I was like, okay, what can I do now?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, Dan Davis.
Yeah.
I know I'm reaching out to Wendy. I'm doing
We
it.
knew about that one. Yep.
Yep, I'm doing it.
Aw.
I know. What can I do?
I love it.
So yeah, and still trying to expand out. Right now, we're helping someone from Arizona.
Oh,
It's
cool.
a family that reached out. I actually had quite a few families reach out for assistance, so
Good.
we've been helping in the way that they want to be helped.
Yeah,
So it
right,
just
right.
depends.
That's great.
So, but yeah, we're working on it, and once we get Linda's program rolling, then
Yeah,
that'll be amazing. So
that's
that's
great.
working on that. Hopefully, in the next couple of months, I'll have
Awesome.
something. So,
Yay.
but thank you,
That's good.
Wendy, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'd love to have you back
Yeah.
whenever you want.
Yeah, I know
Whenever you want.
yeah, whenever I want. I'll
Yeah.
just take a shower, spend the night.
You know where I live now.
I know where you live. I know where your basement is.
Yes, you do. And it's
Um,
not creepy, right? Is it creepy?
No.
It's not.
she's got a whole studio down here.
It
She's got
is.
little sections of like things going on.
Yeah, it's just
Um,
organized chaos.
organized
Yeah.
chaos. I love it.
Fun.
Yeah, people always point out how like jolly and high spirited I am and stuff like this and on the news and in all my videos. And I'm like, first of all, that's just how I am.
Yes.
And maybe that's just how I respond to traumatic things, I guess. I've never been through anything this bad before, but whatever. But it like would you even watch my videos if I was like like I'm not gonna press record when I'm sobbing and
Right.
you know what I mean? Like so I'm trying to keep the energy up, keep everybody else's spirits up too, and like I am hopeful, and this isn't like a I mean, yeah.
Well,
'Cause,
it's you.
again,
It's
if I
who
don't-
you are. It's your
Yeah.
personality. And, you don't need to diminish who you are
Yeah.
just, because you're going through something really tragic.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's your way of coping too, if it's
Yeah.
the way that you handle it. For me too, it's like I just kind of go in like autopilot.
Yeah.
So, just because I'm not like
Yeah.
crying, sobbing, like I
Exactly.
you have to stay focused.
You have to stay focused.
You
Yeah.
have to stay focused.
So
So,
that's why I'm like, as we're signing off, I'm like, oh yay, cool, thanks for having me. I'm like, we're talking about my missing dad. I don't mean to be like, yay. I'm just, again, just grateful for the time and the like this type of stuff. This is what keeps us going.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's it. Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming. It was so great to have
Yes.
you.
It
And
was great to be here. I'm excited to listen to this later.
yes,
It'll
absolutely.
be fun.
But
Yay.
all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode of Case Uncovered. I know this was a different one, but there will definitely be more like this, like more intimate interviews and things like that in studio. So stay tuned and
Yay.
Yeah.
Find Dan Davis.
find Dan Davis. All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.